The Consumer Electronics Show, known as CES 2015, was pretty interesting. I didn't go, but I got to see a lot of the recaps and I got to check out a lot of the stuff online. And there was some pretty interesting things from Intel, like RealSense.
Of this recipe to make wings. So using my voice, I'm gonna start that clip. Play video.
Mustard. Here,
So this seems pretty simple. I really wanna see what's the next step in the recipe, but yeah, don't want that laptop. So using the RealSense camera, I can prevent that. See, I was able to bring that recipe right in, right? And if I want to scroll to the end, I simply make that gesture, and it lets me scroll.
There's LG G Flex 2. There's a Sling TV, and there's a bunch of robots and drones.
You can see they put down their controls. The drones are adapting to them.
But the top three things I want to talk about in today is actually SUHD TV, which is done by Samsung. We're not sure what the S stands for, but it's like an Ultra HD TV with an S in the front, so SUHD. It's curved. It's supposed to look like a work of art. It's pretty complicated, to say the least. Anyway, so that's one of the things I want to talk about, is the fact that there's a transition now happening in television, and we're going to explore a bit of that today. The next thing now is a Tizen operating system that runs inside of Samsung's television. Now get this. This new smart TV software is not going to be compatible with older devices. It's kind of like we have OS. Your OS before is not compatible. Your hardware before is not compatible. So you just can't change to the new system. Anyway, so let's think about this for a second. What is your television doing with an operating system? It doesn't make any sense. Operating system is the software that runs on the computer, like Windows or like on your Android phone. They call it Android because Android is the actual software that makes the phone work. So now your television has software. So what's really happening, what I really want to talk about today, the third thing is going to be digital television. And we also have something coming out from Sony known as PlayStation Vue. So essentially, Sony has a way now to transmit television content to PlayStation, it's going to be coming out this year, to PlayStation owners. I think PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3. And this is pretty interesting, but we'll come back to that in a second. So looking at the Tizen OS, looking at Netflix now is going to be in 4K. And also, what Netflix is also doing together with Sony is they're going to be offering not just 4K content, but HDR, which is high dynamic range, which is, we'll get into that later on in another video. But essentially, it's the proper blending of shadows, highlights, and midtones. So instead of you just getting a dark, like foresty looking type of a place, you'll see shadows, you'll see when the moon, like if it's nighttime, the moon's hitting the building, you'll see where the highlights are, you'll see where the midtones are, you'll see proper separation. Kind of like what your eyes see, but even more. Because you notice with cameras, what we usually do is we have a bright sky if it's high noon and someone's inside, and inside of the building or inside of the dark area you see just shadows. But with this effect, you'll see a higher range of colors and darks and lights. Think of it as HDR on your phone. If you have a smartphone and it has HDR, basically it's blending the shadows, the highlights, and the midtones together into one image. Essentially, that's what HDR is. But this digital television, the fact that Netflix now is center stage for pretty much all movie internet content, it's a big sign as to where we are, not where we're headed, but where we are. So televisions with operating systems, televisions, the internet now streaming 4K content through Netflix, and PlayStation Vue, they're also getting into the streaming business. So although they're working with Netflix, they're also creating their own streaming service. So what we have to look at here now is basically the direction of things. So yeah, there are a lot of other things happening at CES, the curved phones, even Sling TV is doing their own streaming service. The drones are becoming more popular now, where you can record content with these flying devices. and you have Intel RealSense, which pretty much can sense what you're doing with your hands, and it can actually listen to your voice. It's pretty intense. So that's a quick recap here of CES. I want to get more in depth into the digital television and what it means for us and how we can utilize it and what we need to be doing as content creators. But for now, this is Sewell here signing off.